Hey, what's up? I'm Doc. I'm one of the Sample Kings. I'm here hanging out. Of course, I'm going to show you a new machine, the one you got now, the VS1680. It's been around for a while. The Neptunes use it. A lot of guys have been using it at home studios. Do your tracks, get them sounding fat. This video is all about it. So look, I can talk a whole bunch of crap. We're going to use an MPC 4000. We've got our VS1680, and we got one of them Doc Death beats. Let's check it out. Okay, here's the back of our Roland VS1680. It's a very simple setup, as you can see here. Now, the first part I want to show you on this video is the power source. We have the AC in. And you can see it right here. Now, see, this middle prong here is for our ground. So make sure you've got the right plug, the right cable. That's it right there. Plug it in. Make sure it's firmly plugged in. Your power source must be firmly plugged in. Make sure of that. It's very important. You don't want to have the machine cut off by mistake. Next, we're going to show you the SCSI section. See this here? This is a SCSI connection to our Roland. Alright, next we're going to show you our SCSI connection, which is right here. Now, we'd normally use a DP25 type SCSI connection. Now, that connection is actually a 25 pin. Now, here's the cable head for that. See? There's 25 pins in there. Now, we take that and we plug it into our SCSI connection. And the other end can always be plugged up to a zip drive or a jazz drive. And make sure that cable connection is tight. Now, on most of these SCSI connections, we have these thumb screws. You can see we're going to tighten these thumb screws up, and we get a very secure connection. That's very important when hooking up your SCSI connection. Now, next, we're going to show you the MIDI connection. Here we have a MIDI in, a MIDI out, and a through. That means this connection doubles. It can either be a MIDI out or MIDI through, where the signal goes in here through our 1680 and back out through our through connection. Now we use a standard MIDI cable. Here's the head for that cable. And we connect it right in. As always, make sure you have a nice tight fit. You must go all the way in. Or use the same cable. Let's say I want to change my cable. I want to make this a MIDI in. I'm sending data into my VS2480 from an external MIDI device. Now, sometimes I'm working late at night. I have a headset, and I make sure I've got my connection. See this here? That's where my headset goes. Pretty simple, huh? That's good. Next, this is my output section right here. The output from my VS1680. As you can see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or they can be in stereo pairs. This is a master left and right out, which is 1 and 2. Auxiliary A, 3 and 4 are the left and right out. See left and right there? We have auxiliary B, left and right, and we have our monitor. Here's 7 and 8 output. Now, we would use a RCA cable. I've got one right here, of course. I like to keep a color-coded cable, as you can see here. I have 8 different colors. I mark my cables. I put them in here so I know which is which. And the opposite end that I use for my output connection, I have labeled also. Now, sometimes you get a cat come by, he's got a guitar, you want to record him. You go, oh, well, that's how I sound. You go, oh. All right, I want to record, man. So look, you got to get a cable. Now, most of these guitars require a cable like this. Guitar, bass guitar, even some keyboards. It's like an analog output. So the guitar generates a signal, and then we take that signal, we put it into our, right here. This is our guitar high Z input. I pop it right in there and I'm good to go. It's really super, super cool. Adds more power and it makes sure we can get it down tight. You know what I mean? That signal going into the machine, perfect. Okay, now we've got other inputs besides our high Z guitar input. Now when using this input, it cancels out the rest of these inputs. So the high Z input takes priority. You can't use this input and the rest of these inputs at the same time. Understand that. Now, these first two inputs are XLR. Here's an XLR cable. See the little 3 prongs in the back there? See that? Now, I'll take this cable and I can put it right here in to my VS2480. And the other end here, well, let's say go to a microphone. Now, if my microphone requires phantom powering, I'll turn this on. And it'll add phantom power, 48 volts, which adds more power on the input of that microphone signal. It's very important. Here we have our configuration. Make sure your cable head, I told you those 3 pins in here, make sure your cable head, see that? Those 3 pins in there? The configuration is cold, 1 is ground, hot is 2, and cold is 3. And here we're ring tip sleeve for our connection. That applies to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now below that we have our digital input. Here we can use a standard RCA digital cable. In 1, out 1. And we also have our output here, which is coaxial. This is stereo in, stereo out. Let's look at the front. Now here we have a foot switch. Now you can do a foot switch sometimes you're a guitar player and you got both your hands full. We get our foot switch cable, which we plug into right here. See that? And this in turn will be connected to a foot switch, and you would either punch in or punch out a certain part of that song. Okay, here we have our graphic display. Now we're going to see everything right here. We'll see our tracks move across here. We'll see which virtual tracks we have on or off and what's been recorded to where. We'll see also the VU meters appear right here. Now here we also have our function buttons. Now these function buttons correspond to a particular function that's right above it here on our graphic display. We can even change a page, let's say. There's a page button, maybe a different page here, and these graphic buttons will correspond to something different. Right here, this may be song in this section. And we can go right back there to select. Or I can go back to change the page there and go to here, or back here, or there. See that? Each one of these function buttons gets you to some other page in the software. Now here we have our preview section. And here we can press this button to preview, say, a part. We can scrub it here. We can to, that means from that part to in the point, through for that same section, or here from that section to preview. You know, you want to preview maybe that phrase or sample. Next, we have our locator scene section. Now here we can use these buttons to go from a previous point, let's say in our recording, here's previous, or we go to the next point in the recording. Here we can tap this and lastly set a marker. We'll put a marker somewhere on the track. We can also locate bank, and here also we can locate the scene. And scenes could be here. You can pick your scenes. The scene could be the start, this could be the end of the song, it could be the bridge. You know what I mean? You can select a scene that you want to have at that particular point in the song. Now right below here, see we've got this. This is our transport control buttons. These are all these buttons control stuff. Here I can go back to the top. It says 0 on top. See that? I can rewind. I'm in the middle of a song. I want to rewind backwards. I want to go forwards or fast forward. Let me stop this song and think about what I want to do next. I'll tell you what. Let's go back to the top and play it. Let's play and record. Bam. Whoa. We can play and record. We can stop the recording. We can go fast. Hey, these are all transport controls. Anywhere in the song you want to control it. Now here we have, this is our jog wheel for adding time or value. Now in time, we're talking about adding time to a song. We may want to, okay, I'll move the cursor over here. I may want to be at, 3 or 7, 8 minutes in this project somewhere. Or the song starts at 4, this gives me the time value. Or, let's say I want to change a parameter. Well, I can add that change here with this jog wheel. Now above that we have right here, we have our up and down cursors. You're probably familiar with this. You can go up and down, see here, we can go up and down right here on our screen. See, let's look at move the cursor there. And you could see me, I'm moving the cursor up and down. Let me get a little back in focus. There we are, back in focus now. We can see it up and down, see that? That's our cursor. Now above here we have our, this is our external sync. We tap that button there, we set our machine to external sync. Another device, maybe MIDI, will send a MIDI signal in here, maybe MTC, which is a MIDI time code, and we can control our Roland VS1680. We can also vary the pitch. We want to change the pitch of that project. We may want to make it faster or slower. You may do commercials, but we want to have it a little faster, just maybe by 3 or 4 seconds. We can change our pitch right here. And here we can contrast the display. I can get it where you can look at that looks good like that, right? Or like this, I can't even see it. But from a different angle, you can see even better. See? So we have to have a contrast knob, which is right there. Now here first we have our input section. This corresponds to the inputs we showed you earlier that are in the back of our 1680. Now right here, right above it, we have our peak indicators. And these will light to suggest that we have hit the peak point. So we don't want to hit it too much and get a very harsh recording. Now these indicators allow you to confirm the signal level. Make sure that signal is proper. And that signal level is the level that comes from the 8 jacks in the back, as we showed you earlier. And we have, as you can see, mic or line, mic line, mic line, mic line. See that? Now mic would be our XLR. Line would be the quarter-inch plug we showed you from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, over here we have our monitor section. It's always important to make sure you have your monitor levels turned down before starting up your system. You don't want to blow your speakers or do something really crazy, you know what I mean? Keep your levels proper. Now the monitors will be still in the back, which is our output, which is 7 and 8 output on the monitor level. Next we have our headphone set. This is a headphone set leveler. See that? We can go from 0 to 10. This is in terms of dB. It's very important to know the amount of dB you've got going to your output. Over here we have our auto mix. We can read, we can write the mix, or we can go to manual. This is very cool when mixing your tracks up. Now here we also have our select, channel, edit, pan, EQ. Now this is actually the input. This is track select input. The input here, that's the input. This is the input here. This will correspond to the screen on the opposite side of our VS1680. That says channel 3. I just press 3. The attenuation, we have the EQ, we have our mix on, the fader, all this information. I'm pressing one button. We can see what's happening to that particular selected channel right here. Now here below here we have our track. These correspond to the tracks. So you have a drum here, a bass drum here, a snare drum on 2, a hi-hat here, the bass line, the keyboard, that funky sample my mama had on that record I sampled. And here we got a couple of vocals, and here's a lead vocal. And maybe we'll have something else someplace else. Or we can record up to 16 different tracks. Really cool. And it's our track section. And we can go 1 through 8, or flip it again, and we can go from 9 through 16. Really cool. Now we have our status too, the status of what this particular track is. It could be either, we can go to solo and say, well, we can have this track, let's say, muted or whatever. This could be soloed. The status of this particular track is according to the lights. And we'll show you more of that later on. How you can know the track status could be either muted or not muted. Or this could be erased totally, we don't even know what's on the track at all. This tells us the status of that particular track. Now here we also have our easy routing section, as you can see right here. We press this button and we go to easy routing. We can route our signals internally in our VS1680 through our easy routing. Below here we have our master. This is edit or solo. See that? That's very cool. We'll show you more about this later on. We can also have our fader mute. It's in or it's track. See that there? Here we have our master fader. This is the master overall fader for the entire output. And of course we have our strip right here, which is in terms of dB. And these are all our faders. We have 12 faders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And they correspond to the track or whatever we assign these faders to be. Well, it's time to get busy. Let's get a beat up and show you how we record into our VS1680. Now I'm going to turn it on, press my on, power button in the back, next to my power input. As you can see here, it's coming on, it's trying to initialize its SCSI connection. It says that's okay. It recognizes the IDE drive. It says please wait. Once it scans our drive, so I'm looking to load a song, and here we go. We're ready to go. Now it's very important to shut down properly. The first thing you want to do is you press Shift, and then we're going to press the stop button, which below says Shut Eject. We press that, and we can see here on our screen it says Shut Down Eject, yes or no. I want to shut down. I'll press Yes. Now, store current song. As you can see, there's a bit depth. I can press yes or no. I can press yes, and we can store the current song. Now this way it's disengaging the hard drive and making sure we can cut it off without losing data. It's important to always save your data constantly. That way, if you have a problem losing it, you're good. Now I cut the power off. It says power off, restart. I'll power it off. And that's how we turn off the power to our Roland VS1680. Now to create our first song, we press Shift and we press Song, which is F1. Now here, once I take my hand off, I can see I want to go New Song. So there's New Song right there. I press New Song. Now here we can actually name this song, as you can see there. But first I'll set my parameters up. As you can see here, we have our parameters set to 44.1. I also set my mode up. Now here in mode, I want to use MT2. Now you have various modes we can use here. We can use the multi-track mode, which is great for like a professional recording, like doing, separate tracks and lining them up. Great sound, and uses more actual sample time. We have mass, which is for mastering. That means you can put several different tracks into our VS1680, like, several songs, and master up our entire CD. We have our live recording, which is LIV, and we have LV2. Now this is much lower sample bit depth. Now with sampling, you want to make sure that you have the right sample rate. As you can see, for example, here this is 44.1. You cannot take two different songs and have two different sample rates, and they will not play at the same time on our VS1680. You must make sure that everything is the same sample rate within the song you're going to use. Once we set up our sample rate, we've got our record mode, and here I'm not going to use any copy system parameters or copy mixer scene to a different song. I'm ready to go. I'll press execute, and I want to name the song. So we're going to press, before we do that, we're going to do one thing. Press no. I want to name my song. I'll press name. See here, we can name the song. And I can use my cursor here, and I can roll to the name I want to call this song. I can move down even, and I'll pick, let's say, a name for it. Go to the next one, pick the next cursor. Name I want to use a K. I want to use an I. So I name the entire track. Okay, now I've named that song. I like it. I'm good to go. Stop. Okay, I've named my song, Skings 001. I'm going to press right. As you can see here, it's named the song, Skings 001. Got my bit depth, which is 44.1, and my recording one, I'm going to use MT2. That way I can save in recording time, get a great recording. I'll press execute, create new song, I'll press yes. Store it, I'll press yes. And as you can see, it's working hard, making sure I'm ready to go. And we're ready. Now, let's get a beat and put into our 1680. Okay, this is my setup I got here. I'm using my MPC 4000. I love this baby. We've got our output set up, as you can see right here. Got my power source in. I've got a MIDI cable right here. This MIDI cable will send MIDI information out to my Roland VS1680. And that plug right here, see that? So I can at least get the MIDI commands I want to send, which in this case will be start a song or MTC. Now here, these output cables are connected right back into here, see? I got a snake, as you can see a snake here. This cable goes to here. You can see this corresponding patchwork here. And we have these going in from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're using these 6 inputs from our MPC to go directly in. Now the output of my Roland VS1680 is right here. I'm saying this out to my speaker system or to my mixers, you can see right here in our studio. So now it's time to get busy. We're going to track a beat out of here, which I think I got here. There it is. Yeah, I like that. That's that. We'll take this beat here and record it into here. I've got everything on separate tracks. The hi-hat somewhere. I've got everything lined up, ready to go on these pads. And here we go. Okay, I've got my beat. As we saw earlier, I have these cables that are leading from my MPC 4000 that go directly to input 3 through 8, which is 6 inputs. Now, I'm going to set up the Roland VS1680 to record these separate tracks. I'm going to press record. I'm going to pick the track that I want to record on. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to press 8. See it turn red? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. See that? I let go of my record button right now. I'm going to press play on my MPC. Now here in our view screen, you can actually see those tracks. See them right here. I'm going to record right there on these tracks. You can see my level set. Now here on top of our 1680 we have our inputs. But you can see, I'll turn up the levels so you can see a little more in the monitor. See the little lights going off here? Our peak meters right there. Those are our peak meters that are going off and on there. Yeah, it's a peak meter. See those peak meters right there? They indicate the peak. I want to make sure they blink a little bit so this hit the top, just to barely the peak. Then I will adjust my levels here. You got to bring this all down so you can see the levels come out. I got my levels out. But you can still see them here. See on the mixing board? We still see these levels. Okay, you got that? This is just in the audio level. This is the mix I'm getting right here. Got good and powerful levels. I can get my hi-hat. And once you got these levels set up, as you can see here, you want to make sure you're between like 12 and 0 dB. Between minus 12 and 0 dB. That's from right here to 0 right there. Now, I want to record this information of this beat I have into my 1680. Now, I've got inputs we already know at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We see those levels appear up here, of course, when I'm not ready. But now I want to make sure that the input at 3 is recorded on track number 1. I want to make sure 4 is recorded on track number 2. The input at 5 is at 3. The input at 6 will go to 4. 7 will go to 5. And the input on 8 will go to track number 6. So we want to route these signals internally. First, I'm going to press Easy Routing. Now here I want to record. We can record, mix down, bounce tracks, or mastering. In this case, I just want to record some tracks in. I'll press Execute. I can either use a template or step edit route recording, mix down and bounce, either one. In this case, we use record. We press F1. Now here I want to route my signals. This is the input right here. I want to route these inputs to a destination track. Here's how it's done. I will go over here and I'll click on an input, let's say 3. I click on 3, which I did right here, and then we can go back right here on my screen and you see 3 is there. It's blackened out now, it's high. Next, I want to send that signal to 1. I'm going to go back here to my track section, right here, as you can see, and I will press 1. Now, we look back at our screen over here, and we can see that now it's got this little line going right there. That's it, to 1. I can press 4. And then I want 4 to go to 2. I want 5 to go to 3. I want 6 to go to 4, 7 to go to 5, and 8 to go to 6. And we can see that here on our screen. We can see the destination of these signals going to those tracks. And these are the tracks that represent right here. Now here, these are my virtual tracks right here. I'm going to record all this on the first virtual tracks. So for each one of these 8 tracks, we have, as you can see right here, 16 different tracks we can have for each one of these 8. So 16 for here, 16 here, 16 here, 16, 16, 16, which gives a great amount of virtual recordings. And we're ready to go. I'll press Exit. See my next step. I'll press Exit. And we're ready to go. Okay, now we've got the routing set up. We know where each track is going to be. We're going to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Real cool. Now what I want to do is I want to assign those tracks and make sure I get them going. I'm going to go here, I can press the track once, orange, red, and I'm ready. Now once it goes to red, as you can see here, we're ready in the record mode. I'm going to set the 6 tracks I want to record to and set them up for record ready. Now they're all red, 1 through 6. Now we'll look here on our screen, on our display here, we're going to see that the first 6 tracks are in record ready. See, they're sort of blackened out, and the number stands out in the middle of each one of these tracks. See that? I'll press play on my MPC 4000. It's right over there. It's a beautiful one. I love it. This is my top sampler all the guys here, we have one. We're kind of bugged out. We love our samplers, and that's the beat I did here on this MPC for the video. And now we're recording this beat here into the Roland VS1680. As you can see, the tracks are being recorded right there. There's the capability to seeing what's on each track. I have to play. See that there? That's the sample. Bang, 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 ba-ding. That's the sample. Right there's a snare drum. Pat. Pat. Here's a kick drum. Do, 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 do. And on the end, here's the hi-hat. Everything you want to record. So now, I want to record that. Watch this. This is really cool. This is how you get your data into your VS1680. Check it out. Next, I'm going to press record. See that I press record? It's blinking. Look at that. I love that. Really cool. High tech. And you got to make sure you're also, see on the screen here, you got to be in record right here. Make sure that you're in record here. I guess that's in record. Got that? Great. Now, I have this VS1680 set to do an external control. That means I press external control here. Right here, you press external control. I press stop. Okay, now, I've got the track ready. I want to sync up my MPC 4000 with my Roland VS1680. Here's how you do it. I'm stopped. That's all stopped. I press external sync. This allows another device to send like MIDI clock or MTC, which is MIDI time code. And I make sure I set mine for 30 seconds. And this one also for 30 seconds for time code. Now this is done by pressing Shift, and you go to System, and you go to Sync. Now here in Sync, I have it set to External, which is the sync source. See that? Type is sync MTC type, and it's 30. That's 30 seconds per frame. That's 30 frames per second, excuse me. 30 frames per second. Also have the sync offset. That means at this point in time, we will start using this as our start point. It's the offset point. Great. Now, I can press play. I'm back to my main screen. The VS1680 is ready to be recorded. It's ready. It says, come on, I got the tracks. I got my beat, my dope doctor beat. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that. And there's the tracks right there. Feel that? Now watch, I'm going to press stop over here. I'm going to press record right here. See that? I press record here. See that? Record and play. Look at that. They're ready to go. Now, it's blinking. It's waiting to receive the external sync information to get it to start again from the top. We'll look over here at our MPC. I'm going to press the play button, and it'll start to record. And when you get back here, you see in this display right here, it's not magic, it's reality. See, it's playing already. By letting the MPC become the controlling device, I control the 1680. This can be done with any MIDI machine that can generate or send some sort of sync information, particularly MTC or MIDI clock. And we're still recording. See this? We've already recorded over 30 seconds. Hey, that's cool, right? I'll press stop. And look, it stopped. It stopped. It's done. Now, watch this. I'm going to play it back. Once you record something in, you want to hear it back. Make sure it's right. You're going to press return to 0. Press stop first, then press return to 0. So I press stop first and return to 0. Then I go right here. You can see those tracks. Those tracks are right there. Now the smart thing to do is say, I'm going to prove it's there and it's recorded properly. You want to play back what you just recorded. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. I'll press play. It won't run. Why would it run? I can't believe it. Why? And Caleb says, hey, look, Doc, it's still in external sync. Look, always turn that off. I turn it off. Now, it can run on its own. It's not waiting for an external sync. It's in charge. There it is, right there. Going right by. It's been recorded. And that's how it works. I've got these tracks. I can play them from the top. Okay, check it out. You know, I don't like the way they were recorded. I can go undo, press yes, and they're gone. Did you see that? Now watch this. I'm going to undo what I just undone. I'm going to press, let's see. I'm going to press undo, press yes, wait, undo, no, shift, undo, yeah, and then press redo, yes. And it redid it. You saw that? Amazing. You can actually undo, then redo again. Great machine. But look at this. I want to undo it. I want to add something else to this mix. I forgot to do that. So let's say I want to undo it. I want to actually erase it so it won't maintain the memory in our VS1680. Best thing to do here is to go shift, we go to track, then we go erase. When you erase track, we're going to select tracks. Hit the tracks here. I can mark them. I'll press mark this one. Mark. I've marked all those tracks for erasing. I'll press all. Yep. I'll press execute. I select those tracks. I'll press enter. Those tracks here are selected. Right here. Mark them. Just mark. Gotta mark all these tracks. And execute. And they're gone. They're marked off, removed, erased from the memory. You got that? They're gone. Not going to be any undo file no more. We're out. It's important to remember that. Okay, let's go back and record some more music in. Watch this. Okay, look, I got some tracks here. You heard them already. We've recorded them into our VS1680. If we had up to 16 tracks in here, you would see all 16 lines filled up. And that's the maximum. That's the maximum amount of tracks you can use with your 1680. But we can also make up virtual tracks. These are tracks in background of this track. Each track can have up to 16 virtual tracks, depending on how much memory you actually have, you know, how big your hard drive is on your VS1680. Well, check it out. We're going to put a virtual track down. First thing I want to do, I want to assign the track that I want to make virtual. I'm going to go here to track number 3. Go to 3 here. I'll press 3. Now, back on my window here, my display, we'll see this is virtual tracks right here. Right below status, we have virtual tracks, a V track. I'll turn the jog wheel. And now I want to go to virtual track 2. So that's 2 now. Okay, now I'm going to press my play button to see my display again. That's cool. You can see here that track 3 is gone. So I have to put a recording here on 3. Now I'm going to record a new sound. I want to put this. It's going to playback 3. I want to put a new sound on virtual track 2 on track 3. So I'm going to go to easy routing and record, execute, record, and I'm going to record function right there. I want to route my signal. I want to route the signal from 3 to 3 on virtual track 2. See that? Okay. Let's do that. Let's press 3. So you can see 3 input lights up here. Now I want to send the signal from 3 right here to track 3 on virtual track 2. I'm going to go to hit the track I want to record to. That one right there. And it changed the light to red light on that 3. It's kind of cool. And here we see that the path is from 3 to 3. That's what we see. Amazing. Okay, now we're going to say we want to do that. Step, step again, step again, step again. All these parameters are right. Execute. Yes, we want to do that. Thank you very much. Now back here, we're going to exit. We're back to our main screen again. And now I want to hear back the tracks I want to get some playback from. And play. See that? We can hear everything except for that little sound I had going. That boom, 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 boom. Well, check it out. Watch this. I got a new sound. See that? I'm going to put that sound there. I'm replacing that sound with my new sound. I got a mix for one for a chick, one for a dude, the same track. I can see the money coming in. Wow. A mix by the doctor. Whoa. Oh well, enough of that. Stop. Here we go. I'm going to record it on top of this section. I'm ready. I'm already in sync. Remember, I've got my external sync going on. I press external sync. It's blinking. I go to record. I go to play. And then, all I do now, since I have my MIDI time code coming from the MPC 4000 into my VS1680, I press play here. And we're recording. Look at that. It's recording right there on the track. See that? So that track is almost like outlined. That's the new track we're recording on. We're putting this new sound in there. That harpsichord thing. Ba-ba-doo, 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 boom. That's really cool and funky. And see, it's recording in there. That's the only thing we changed in the mix. And we made a new track, and that's on virtual track 2 on track 3. Now, let me stop this, and we're going to hear that back. Let's stop it. And now, I'm going to go back to the top. You can see it's filled out. I'll press play. Oh, it's not going to work. Why not? Caleb says, Doc, you did it again. Of course, turn your sync off, Doc, and go back to the top. Here we go. We're running. Now you see the track is there. It's blackened out, not outlined out like before. It's an actual track in our session, and we know that track is virtual track number 2. It's always important to remember what's where and where it's at. And you can see there, right here in the display, Caleb says that this here, one that's grayed out, that's almost there, one right there in the front, that's still there, that's a virtual track. But we're hearing back the blackened out track. You can see which tracks are blacked out, which tracks are not. So the ones here in virtual track 2 on track 3, the first one's not playing, but the second one is. See that? So you know where and why that sound's coming. I love it. Okay, now I want to play back the other track. Wait, other track. Well, let's see. We got this harpsichord. Okay, now we want to change it around some. Let's play back the other side of the track. I'm going to go to virtual. I'm going to track here 3. Status button right there. I'm going to go from virtual track 2 to virtual track 1. Back here and play. Play the track. You can hear it right there. That's hot. So now I'll do it again. I'll go back to 3. A virtual track, or here virtual track 2. I'm not sure, I can't make my mind up. And I play it. You can switch back and forth. Wait, let's stop it again. I want to hear it again. Virtual track. We're going to go to 1 again. We're going to press OK. Right back here to play. See that? You can audition sounds. I like virtual. I can get a different mix of one person to the next person. Even do a commercial a couple of times. Keep the same funky beat grooving and have a different sample. Okay, we got to record some vocals now. Here's the microphone. That's it right there. I'm doing it like the rapping Duke kid. Ha 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 ha. Okay, now Caleb says to tell you this. There's like 3 types of microphones. There's condenser, and there's also what, ribbon?
Ribbon and dynamic.
And dynamic also. Now in this case, we're going to use, this is a what?
Condenser.
This is a condenser mic. Got that? I can move anywhere in the room. I can hear myself. The one we have on the camera is a condenser mic. so we can have it, so we can hear everything in the room. It's got a great level setting. If it gets too loud, it just bam, condenses the sound. Right, Caleb? Right, exactly. So look, I'm going to record a little rap to this thing. I'm not really a rapper, but just to give you some sort of idea of how to use it. We have 4 what?
Also remember to put on your 48 volts when using a condenser microphone.
When using condenser microphone, you got to put your 48 volts. That means that's phantom powering. There's a phantom back there powering up 48 volts. I'll switch in the back because right here, right now, let me show you this. I've got a cable plugged in here. You could have snapped there. This cable here is an XLR cable here that goes in the back of my microphone. It's the kind of microphone I'm using. I got a +4 setup going on where, I want a great ground for the cable. And that's why I use these XLRs. Then I'll put the phantom powering on. As Caleb just mentioned, we'll put the phantom powering on. We're good to go, and you can hear us right here in the microphone. Well, now I want to record some vocals into our VS1680. I want to route them in first. I go to easy routing. I'll press, I want to execute this recording function. I'll press record. I'm going to press 1 on my other track. Right over here. See that? I press 1 right there. It lights up here, of course, as you know. And then I can route that signal to right there. 1. I'm going to go back over here to track. I got the 1. And we go right back over here. And there it is. A little line going from 1 to 1. I want to do that. I'll press step. I'll press step again. The rest of these functions are just where I want them. Now I want to execute this. Execute it. I'm saying, yes, I am with that, brother. Hook me up. Now, after here, I see the 1 right there, okay? And look at this here. You can see some vocal, some sort of recording going on to there. Let's go here and let's increase the input to that track. See, you can hear it louder and louder as I increase that. And I can fade it up a little bit more, and we've got a sound going to that track. Cool. Let me put my little, this is an afro. Actually, this is a windscreen. See? Nice, cool windscreen. Kid and play windscreen. Okay, here we go. Now, I'll put the track into record, go back to the top. I'm going to go to record this time. I'm going to go record. As you can see here, I got to make sure my other tracks are ready to record, so I'll put these, I want to make sure these tracks are ready to be heard back. Let me press play actually. Okay, good, we got it. Now we go back to the top again. We're going to go back here to the top and press this. And I'm going to record on track number 1. As you can see, it's in red. I'm going to record here in track number 1. I'll press record and play. Yeah, cause I'm coming back with the right track. It's the DOC rocking them, you know what I'm saying? From the old school, yeah, rocking them with the slaying. I had an MPC SP1200. Went to the store, the guy didn't know how to use it. I figured out the way to rock the machine, took the manual away, and my beats became mean. And now I'm doing MPCs, 4,000, 3,000. You know it, we name it, we read it, we got it. Sample Kings, y'all. Sample Kings, y'all. Now that's whack, right? Okay, I recorded the vocals in. I want to make sure I got my track mix going on. Now before I was hearing input, now I'm going to go to track. I lower the levels here of these sounds. I got my vocal on 1 as you heard before. I press play. Yeah, I'm coming back with the right track. Yep. It's the DOC rocking them, you know what I'm saying? From the old school, yeah, rocking them with the slaying. I had an APC SP1200. Went to the store, the guy didn't know how to use it. I figured out the way to rock the machine, took the manual away, and my beats became mean. And now I'm mixing them in, look at that. APCs, 4,000, 3,000, you know it, we name it, we read it, we got it. Sample Kings, y'all. Sample Kings, y'all. Now that's whack, right? Well, the guys here look at me like, and that's how you do it. Once you got a track down, you should always name that track. I love to name my tracks. First thing I do is I'll press Shift, and then I'm going to go press Track. That's F2. Now we've got some choices here. The choice I want to do is I want to name, that's F4. And now we see our tracks in the display, right here, and we want to name a track. Number 1 is selected. I'll press name, F1. Now, as you know what to do, and I know what to do, we turn the dial, we select what we want, we go to the next thing, we name that track. See? Once we're through naming it, we must make sure that we keep that. So we press right, and it changed the name. Very simple, right to the point. That's how you name your track. Okay, fellas, we gotta get out of here. My girl's coming by here to hang out. She's back in from Tokyo. I'm gonna hang out. Caleb's gonna hang out too. So look, you guys are gonna love this video, of course. Hey, you just saw the video. What am I talking about? Hey, I'm out of here, man. Let me press my audio. I'm gonna go press Shift. I'm gonna press Shut Down. See that? I'm gonna save my data. Shut down. I'm pressing yes. Store data. Sure, store that current data. Yes. It's storing it. Look at that. It's storing that one right into the sounds. Working now, working now, working. Yep, I'm ready to get out of here. So look, fellas, I want you to have fun doing what you're doing, and remember, we're the Sample Kings, and no one does it better, baby. I'll see you later. I'm out of here. Hey, what's up, guys? I want to thank you again for buying a video. You guys have been supporting us. We keep making more videos. You keep buying them. I know you guys are learning, and you know, it's time for you to join the school, because we're in the school right now. We're in school every day hanging out. We're virtually there. Sometimes I could be in Hawaii. You know, really, reality, I'm here making more stuff, and we want you to keep making great music. Any questions, visit SampleKings.com. You know what I mean? Thanks again. Yeah.
With the right track. Oh, yeah. With the DOC rocking, you know what I'm saying? From the old school, yeah. Rocking it with the slang. I had an MP.